We're getting these headlines about record numbers at the border, but it's important to remember that we've seen this level of families and children before, and we have dealt with it, and the country hasn't collapsed. The biggest misconceptions we have right now are that every one of the border encounters represents one different person. All individuals who cross between ports of entry and are apprehended by the Border Patrol are not given a chance to seek asylum. I think the important thing for people to recognize is when we hear 170,000, that sounds like a lot, but it's actually a much smaller number because that incorporates a very high rate of people crossing the border more than once. The Biden administration's messaging has been crystal clear to migrants. Do not come, the border is not open right now. When critics say that the Biden administration has invited those people to come to the border, I would say in response, did Donald Trump invite families to come in 2019? We saw in 2019 that no matter what ever-increasing level of cruelty the Trump administration imposed at the border, people still came. In fact, most people don't want to leave their home countries. They're only coming because they feel that they have no better option. The Biden administration has actually made few policy changes at the border. While it did formally lift restrictions that led to the expulsion of unaccompanied children, those restrictions were blocked by a federal judge before Biden even took office. So Biden changed the policy, but he didn't change the practice. The Biden administration also ended the Remain in Mexico program, which had led to 70,000 people sent back to Mexico, where many of them languished in refugee camps and unable to ever access the asylum system. Other than that, the main changes that the Biden administration has made at the border have been to improve coordination with state and local governments and nonprofits on the ground to ensure that at least some people are welcomed safely and securely into the United States. We've been trying to deter our way out of addressing what's happening at the border for 30 or 40 years, and it has been a failure. Since the 1994 Prevention with Deterrence strategy that led the Clinton administration to effectively push people out into the deserts and the mountains where they'd be more likely to die, we've known people are going to come no matter what the risks are. I think it's important to note that we've looked at the arrival of asylum seekers for the past 7 years as an enforcement problem, but it is a humanitarian problem. It's one that we have to address with our humanitarian protection systems and not with throwing billions of dollars to the Border Patrol, to ICE, and to other agencies whose goal it is to stop people from coming. As we've seen for 40, 50, 60 years, you cannot stop people from wanting to come to the United States. We make it a selling point of this nation that it's a nation that so many millions of people want to become part of, to come here, to contribute, and to have the American dream that our ancestors had. I think that we have to look at the arrival of families and unaccompanied children always with the lens of who we're talking about. We're talking about children fleeing persecution and harm in their home countries, and we're talking about families who only want to come here to ensure that they are safe and that the lives of their children are safe and secure. We are a nation of immigrants, and that means opening our arms to those fleeing harm.